What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey.
And Charlie's Silky Drawers.
Yeah. They are silky.
I have no response to that.
Thank you so much for joining us. We here at Talk Talk Punch are building a wonderful little community. We love interacting with you all, so please make sure you are nice in the comments as we're all just having some fun. And while you're here, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in on the audio version of the podcast, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, then come back every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we are ranking 10 superhero teams. I almost said comic book, and yes, they are from the comic books, but we grabbed 10 teams that we're all familiar with, and we're going to rank them. Just kind of a fun activity. Normally, when we do a top 3, we all kind of pick things, but when we feel like there's something that we may have a lot of crossovers, we thought, you know what, let's just do the official Talk Talk Punch rankings. Right. So we grabbed 10, we're going to rank them together and let you guys hang out with us while we're doing that. All right, fellas. How you doing?
This is gonna be a tough one. I'm not sure. I'm really curious to talk about like the top 5.
Yeah.
And really all of that. I could see us all being in agreement. I could see this being a very contentious episode. So, and I will say that we did our best to kind of balance like Marvel, DC stuff. So if some of your favorite teams aren't on here represented, probably just didn't want to stack too many Marvel or too many of one over the other. So apologize for that. Let us know if we're missing any of your favorite teams like New Mutants or whatever, which I want.
And if you have your official rankings, please also let us know down below as well in the comments, because we'd like to hear your official rankings. Yeah. Hopefully there's more than one of you with one official ranking.
So we went back and forth on how we wanted to do this. We don't want to focus on one single parameter. We kind of want to go off of similar to how we do our top 3. So we're kind of picking based on some of our favorites. We can factor in movies, we can factor in comics, we can factor in this stuff, but it's not solidly one parameter. So we realize all of these teams have their fan base. We're sorry if we put your favorite at number 10. If it winds up on number 10, you can be happy that it made the list at least.
Yeah, not an insult. This is a great list.
Yes. We are all fans of all this stuff, but somebody's got to be number 10. Somebody's got to do it. All right, let's take a look at the teams that we are ranking. So, in alphabetical order, we've got the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Justice League, the Green Lantern Corps, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Watchmen, and the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good bunch of teams.
So as we've done before, we can refer back to this screen, but what we did is we put these in our little draw pile. So these are all shuffled up. They'll be coming out in random order. We're going to place them. Just because we place them down initially doesn't mean they're going to stay there, though. They may move around as other things come out, and we say, actually, that one should be lower, or that one should be higher. So we'll see. We're just going to have some fun doing this. We're glad you guys are here to join us. All right, fellas, starting out, Avengers. So just for some reference, where do we think Avengers should go?
I think
opening
that
bid?
we should slot it in near the top. I think this is one that certainly, is going to be one of the more familiar teams out there to a broad audience, just because of the MCU bringing the Avengers to the forefront. Maybe we put it in that number 3 hole to start, with the idea that we could move it in either direction depending on how we all feel. Or do we want to start it higher, lower?
I'm
going 3 to start.
I think that's a conservative place, and I agree with it thus far.
Okay. I feel like it could go higher. It could wind up at maybe a number 2. But we can start it here.
It could be 1. That's fine. It could be 1. I don't know. I just want to see how it all plays.
It could wind up as number 1.
Conservative start for the Avengers.
All right.
I'll allow it.
Number 3. All right. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I growing up was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. I didn't read much of the comics though. So I think that this, even though I'm a big fan, I think this could be kind of in the bottom 5. I'd be okay with that. Maybe like starting at like a 7, maybe.
I can't believe I've read some graphic novel, some TMNT stuff, man. I've read more comics than you on something that you love. That's so weird.
It is weird.
I feel like I'm in a weird upside down universe. I know, on an unrelated note, we now know what to get you for your birthday. So we will be hooking you up with some TMNT reading materials. Look, this is a weird one because there's been so much good and bad in terms of, like, if you have never read the comics, there's been some great animated series and there's been some good movies and a whole bunch of so I think 7's a good spot for me. I think that's good. Hardest Nintendo game I've ever played.
Oh my gosh.
The original
so hard. Ridiculous. Impossible. It's impossible. No one can beat it.
I just remember that game. Let's put it at number 8.
Two Dog, how you feeling about Ninja Turtles?
I'll be honest. I was thinking to myself that I thought 7 was a little generous, but then when I really was thinking about the team, I mean, first off, they're ninjas. That right there makes it pretty cool. Second off, they're mutated turtles and somehow perpetual teenagers. So, I mean, you can't really go too wrong. So I think 7 is good. I think 7's it's a good number. I almost was going to fight for 8, but 7, I think it's worth it for right now, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Like I said, I like them, but there's some heavy hitters on this list.
There's very heavy hitters.
I mean, all right. And while Michelangelo and Leonardo may exist in pop culture references, the Mr. Da Vinci and of course Mr. Sistine Chapel over there, probably Donatello and Raphael are like, wow, our legacy is still alive thanks to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Outside of art circles, of course.
Yeah, of course. All right, next up we have the Fantastic Four. Were you guys ever very invested in the Fantastic Four?
Not really.
I think I had a season where, like, when I was a kid, I would go through weird phases where, like, I would just go to, I know I'm dating myself here. I would go into a comic book store and, you would kind of browse through, like, just these, the back issues of just all these great comics. And there were just times where, like, I was with my cousin or with some friends and I'd just be like, well, I haven't really read a lot of this, so let me just snatch like a run of whatever it may be. And I think there was a couple of times where I did that with Fantastic Four, but it was never like one of my like passion reads. And there certainly haven't been any good movies up to date that have like really kept it near and dear to the old heart.
It's true. Until this MCU one someday gets made.
I'm excited for that.
I'm not sure when this episode is gonna air, but we recently lost the director for that, so I don't know. Who knows when that's gonna happen? All right, so where you guys feeling? Are you guys feeling top? I kind of like the top 5 for them.
How about 5 to start? I'm pitching 5.
Okay.
That makes sense. I can do that.
I was thinking 4, but.
Well, 4 is fine. Put it 4.
It's the Fantastic Four, Tudong. The Fantastic Four should start at number 4. It makes sense.
It is a missed opportunity.
Number 8,
right.
and that's twice as bad as 4. The Ninja Turtles could beat them up, and that's what this list is really about, folks. Who can beat up who?
No. We talked about this in pre-production. It would be impossible to do if.
I know, except for when it comes to Fantastic Four, because every team beats them.
I really like the Fantastic Four. I'm a big fan of Fantastic Four.
Well, I'm looking forward to it going down to number 6. Let me tell you that.
Well, right now it's at number 4 because I control the mouse. Overruled.
They cast Nathan Fillion as Mr. Fantastic. It could go up on the list. Doesn't do that. It goes down on the list, bro.
Oh man. All right. Next up, we have the Suicide Squad.
Did you guys read a lot of the like Suicide runs at all? Or?
I read a little bit when they did like their new 52 stuff, but I never got really into it. They've had kind of a rotating cast of people over for a long time. Didn't really, well, I really didn't like the first movie. Second movie.
Oh, first one was real bad.
Second one.
Can you believe I haven't seen the second, and Nathan Fillion is in it? I don't know what's happening in the world
wrong
right
with
now,
you? But
there's a lot, apparently.
But I don't think Suicide Squad is a top 5.
What would you say then? They perpetually die. They perpetually commit suicide.
9.
That's generous. It's very generous. But I could go with 9.
You want them at 10?
We could put them at 10 just in case nobody gets worse than them.
I'm fine with 9 or 10 or even 8. Any of those spots is good for me. But I would not put them above the Turtles.
No.
Yeah. No.
All right. I think for now, you know what? Let's drop them at 10.
Nah.
All right. Next up, the Green Lantern Corps. Now, Charlie, you don't have a whole lot of experience with them. You did a little bit of Green Lantern, but not a whole lot of the Corps, right?
Correct.
All right.
Do you think we'll ever get a good Green Lantern movie? No offense, Ryan Reynolds.
I hope so.
That wasn't his fault. I don't blame him for that. Although they should have cast Nathan Fillion. He played
not
the
too
voice
late.
of Green Lantern in a lot of the animated stuff, if not most of all of them. He was the voice of Green Lantern. They could have cast him. He was the right age back then. See, this is the thing when it comes to Green Lantern Corps. This is when DC gets cosmic. You know, this is almost it, but it's not like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of a way. It like there's a planet that has a huge battery that charges the Green Lantern's rings.
Yeah.
And they're like you had said in the production meeting, they're like the space police, and they have got these huge quadrants, which makes it almost impossible for them to actually do a good job.
Sectors.
Even Hal Jordan had to team up with another squad or another team, and he's part of a team. I think he's one of the few that's a part of more than one team. Where did you put him, Rod? What are you thinking? Are you thinking low? Are you thinking?
You know, I need to refer back real quick, see what else we have going on.
That's the point. You're not supposed to remember what
we're not supposed to? Sorry.
And then you just put it there, and then we change it later.
Okay. You know, my initial reaction is I really liked the War of Light. You know, there was some really good arcs kind of in the 2000s with you know, the Green Lantern Corps and Sinestro Corps and the War of Light and all the rings and all the colors. You know, I read them a little bit kind of in the 90s. I've always liked Hal Jordan, you know, and then he's kind of come and go, and there's been other Green Lanterns. I think 5 or 6 is kind of where I'm landing.
Let's go 6.
6? Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay starting at 6. All right. The Teen Titans. Oh.
Now, just to let you know, when it comes to the Teen Titans, you have got on that roster, you have got Robin, who turns into Nightwing, leader of the Titans, or the Teen Titans.
Or the Titans.
You've got Cyborg, never a part of the Justice League, always a part of the Titans.
He was in New 52.
I don't care, bro. I don't care. He's a part of the Titans. That's what he is. You don't see Superman and say, hey, he's one of the Teen Titans. You know why? Because he's part of the Justice League. That's what he is part of.
You get
That's
Superboy.
Like Green Lantern is one of the few who's like, oh, Green Lantern Corp and Justice League, but okay, all right. In some ways, I get it. That makes sense. Cyborg being in a different, it doesn't make any sense. They're teaming up. Titans and Justice League are teaming up if Cyborg's a part of it. Either way, you've got Cyborg. You've got Raven, who is an enchantress kind of an individual. You've got Starfire, who is an intergalactic, like an alien princess with serious powers and warrior even.
Kid Flash.
You got who?
Kid Flash.
Kid Flash. That's right. You've got when he was a kid, he was Kid Flash. You've got like
he's like the Flash, but a kid.
A lot. This started out because a lot of the Justice League
Beast Boy,
like their teenage
Beast Boy
side.
Yes.
Beast Boy. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Aqualad.
Like they weren't all home runs, but
I really liked the Young Justice cartoon that was out. And I read the Teen Titans a little bit like in the early 90s. Back when there was like that might have even been no, that was 80s when they did the Teen Titans X-Men crossover.
What? Teen Titans X-Men? You mean Justice League?
No. Teen Titans X-Men. Marvel DC crossed over, had a Teen Titans X-Men crossover.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I remember the Titans back when like Batman or the Outsiders teamed up with the Teen Titans. The Outsiders being the team that Batman joined after the Justice League and then teamed up with their kid sidekicks in the Teen Titans. Robin was still Robin. He wasn't Nightwing just yet. But in A Lonely Place of Dying, you remember that storyline, right, bro? Then he was Nightwing at that point.
And Judas Contract was a good one. They had some good stuff. But in terms of ranking them overall amongst these teams, I'm kind of thinking like 8.
Ooh.
I don't know if they're top 5. I don't know if they go in the top 5.
I don't either. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that they. I mean, I think Nightwing is a great character, but all of them as a team, he kind of went through that team like he was James Bond. He really did. I don't know which one of those members he did not sleep with. He really did. He was in like a big old relationship with Starfire, something with all of these things, and I'm like, it's just going right through. What is he doing?
Have you seen the way that Nightwing gets drawn? I mean, he's got a voluptuous rump. He's known for that backside.
You know what? I saw something about that, and I was like, what the hey? Like they're okay. Hey, he doesn't have a cape. Why not?
All right. So how are you feeling about 8?
I reserve the right to argue about this later, but we can put it there for now. George Perez, may he rest in peace. May he never find out of your treachery. Now, would you put this
over the Ninja Turtles? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I reserve the right to argue with you about it later. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Honestly, I think
Green Lantern Corps, and I don't think the Teen Titans, especially the teen part of the Teen Titans, I don't think they can hold a candle to Green Lantern Corps.
I reserve the right to argue about it later, but we can move on.
I think we may potentially see 6, 7, and 8 do a shift forward, but we'll see. All right, next up, we got a big one. We got Justice League. Definitely top 5.
Definitely top 5.
Now, the eternal question: what comes first, Justice League or Avengers? How do we rank that?
I think this. I don't think we're going to figure out a good ranking for these just yet. So I'm comfortable temporarily putting it at number 2.
Okay. I'm good with that. Charlie, how are you feeling?
I would have Justice League lower.
I've
never been a huge Justice League fan. It never really
lower than 2
made a lot of sense to me. I might not have it top 2 for my personal preferences.
Okay. What about this? What if Avengers moved to number 2 and Justice League was number 3?
I'm fine with that.
For now.
May I
ask
what doesn't make sense about it? Hold on a second. I'd like to know what doesn't make sense about the Avengers. Or I'm sorry, about Justice League. Like, what do you mean it doesn't make sense?
I'm not saying it doesn't. Not making sense isn't the right way to say this, but it's like when you mix and match some of these like personalities and powers, like it just like I don't know. It always felt a little bit odd to me. Like okay, if the problem's big enough, like Superman is kind of like all powerful. Like what's the problem that Superman needs like Aquaman for or Batman? Like what's or Hawkeye, like what does he need them for?
Friendship.
Like it's at some point, it's like it's like what he's just kind of there and he's like, could I do this all myself? Sure, I could, but why don't we all come hang out in this like little
if
this
he
little
had to do
house and
super manual labor,
It's a satellite.
then he is fantastic. He could do super manual labor. You know why? Because he doesn't have to think about it at all. He goes up against somebody like Brainiac. He can't do a thing because he's just not as smart as Brainiac. This is why you get somebody like Batman to beat a cosmic supercomputer, because Batman's mind somehow does that. Although I will admit, bro, you want to put the Avengers as number 2 and the Justice League as 3, I'll allow it. I'm very curious who we put as number 1.
That's a little dead air here. Are you thinking, Brody? Are you contemplating?
I was just thinking a little bit.
This is not something that I'm willing to like have a throwdown over. Like, if you guys want Justice League 2, or it's never going to be my 1 or 2. But if you guys want to put it there, like, I will concede. So
it's tough. The Avengers versus Justice League. It's a really hard call to make.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
A lot of that's just personal preference. I read more of the Avengers stuff. I love Batman as Batman. I don't like Batman in the Justice League.
Gotcha.
There's even cool Aquaman comics. There's good Aquaman comics, but you put Aquaman in the Justice League, and it's like, what are we doing here?
I'll say this. When you see the Avengers, they have like an Avengers compound in the comic books. And in Justice League, they have a satellite that they transport her over to.
Yeah, it's the Watchtower. It's the space station.
Which immediately takes them out of the atmosphere of the very thing that they're protecting. Which is, so they're like, the whole world will blow up. We'll be fine, though. It's okay. Don't worry about us, Justice Leaguers.
I will absolutely admit I didn't read as much Justice League as you guys, so like my taste is probably tainted by my overindulgence in Marvel comics as a youth and my enjoyment of the MCU over the DCU. So I probably have some taint to my opinion. Excuse me.
There's always taint to your opinion, sir. Always some taint. A good amount of it. Bro, what's the next one?
All right, next up we have the X-Men. Now, to me, this I think is my number 1.
Yep, with a bullet. Easy number 1.
I read so much X-Men. I enjoyed most of the movies. Maybe not most. Some of the movies.
And yet it's number 1 for you, bro. I love the movies.
No, because if you looked over at my comic book shelf, there is a lot of X-Men. This is my favorite team. This is what in the 90s when we had Jim Lee X-Men.
Jim Lee is great.
And this was when X-Men was number 1. This is when Avengers were a B-class team, and people didn't care about the Avengers. It was all about the X-Men, which then spawned X-Factor and X-Force and the Extreme X-Men and Excalibur. Like all of the X's. So to me, like we have X-Men on here, but to me, like it's all of these X titles, and that it's huge, and you've got these great stories. I don't really care for the new stuff, but like the 90s stuff even before 90s, like the Chris Claremont stuff going through the 70s and 80s are phenomenal. And I love these characters.
Charlie, what do you think?
I think you're trying to hassle Brody about the movies, but you're also arguing for Justice League to be higher. And I happen to know on good authority that you do not care for the Justice League film. If we're doing this based solely on movies, then obviously Avengers is going to get the top spot and everything else is going to be lower. I read it.
Saying that they didn't care for Batman in Justice League, and I'm not going to say anything about the Snyderverse. I will say nothing about that, whether it is Batman or otherwise.
I love Batman. I like him in his own element, like doing his own thing, being Batman.
That's why he left the Justice League
instead of like trying to like pigeonhole him and fit him into this. Like he's awesome. Just let Batman be Batman.
I thought what he said was funny. That's all. I didn't think it was.
All right.
I like the X-Men movies.
Hey, cool it over there. X-Men 3 was terrible. Oh, it's terrible. So bad. They kill Cyclops off screen and his little glasses float. The whole rest of the movie, I was waiting for him to come back because like, there's no way they killed him off screen like that. There's just absolutely no way that just happened.
X-Men 3 was better than Dark Phoenix, though.
Oh gosh, yeah, there's been some bad ones, but they'll keep being X-Men movies because X-Men is fantastic. Of all the ones on the list, I mean, this is the one that I've read the most comics of, and I absolutely love this. Coming into this was I've been eyeballing this for number one. I've been waiting to get my chance to call it out. This is the one for me. But again, if you guys feel strongly that it's not number one, Dylan, we can discuss it. But
I never said anything about it not being number one. You guys feel very strongly about it, and to be very honest, I thought a lot of the movies were really good. Brody was saying how much he hates the movies, and I think the movies were very well done. Movies. They were kicking off a lot of the superhero movies, along with the original Spider-Man and Blade. So I thought they were very well done. There was no yellow spandex yet, but hey, nobody's perfect. Get a
right, so
6'2" Wolverine when he should have been 5'2", but I love Hugh Jackman.
5'3". 5'3".
5'3".
All right. Can I say something to ease the tension here?
Yes.
We can all agree that the X-Men animated series was fantastic.
Oh, that's so good. So good.
What a theme song.
Also, the best video games, I think, out of all the ones on this list.
So good. They went into X-Men versus Capcom.
They did do that, didn't they?
Yeah. You had Ryu getting sliced up by Wolverine. It was great.
If we're talking fighting games, though, I think Injustice might be better, but it's...
Injustice is excellent.
Injustice is good.
I still play that.
All right, next up, we have The Watchmen. Now, these are unique.
Yeah.
The stories are great. The team, pretty dysfunctional. Not a great team. Not a great team.
Like a powder keg.
How'd you? Quick question. How'd you guys feel about the Watchmen movie? You didn't like it?
I'll say this. I give Zack Snyder a lot of crap, but I'll say this. I thought that although there really was something missing from it, and I don't know what it is, I still, to this day, it's not like, oh, hey, he Snydered it up and it was terrible. I don't think he did that. It was mostly accurate to the comic, shockingly, and in some ways, painstakingly accurate to the comic. And in some ways, it wasn't. But I thought he had done a pretty good job on it. And I thought the movie was well done. I think as a team, I don't really even think we saw them as an entire team. A lot of them they were either off doing something else, or they, like the older folks, or they were flashbacking, or they were doing something else, or some of them were plotting different things completely. So as a functional team, it's almost like they were kind of committing suicide, but not. So I could see it, if we're talking about like functional team, I could see it as 9 instead of 5. But as the movie, I don't think it was a bad movie.
I actually liked the movie.
Did you like the movie?
Yeah. I did like the movie.
I liked it. I got the extended version of it, and
the HBO show, excellent.
See, I haven't watched that. I should watch that though. I should watch that.
Really, really good. Really, really good. I don't know what I didn't hate the movie. Don't get me wrong. Although I have told you the story, I think maybe even on this podcast, of that really just unending sex scene happened, and there was some parents had brought their 8-year-old, and they were just sitting right behind me. The whole movie was super uncomfortable from the opening scene on. I'm just all I can think about. Maybe that's why this movie feels weird to me. But the whole movie, all I could think about was this kid behind me, and then that scene comes on, and it's just like, when's this gonna end? Why is it still going? Oh my gosh, it's still going. And that Leonard Cohen version of the Hallelujah is such a beautiful song. And the worst version of it is the original version of it, which is a weird. Jeff Buckley version is so gorgeous. Use the Buckley version. Such a weird, the juxtaposition of this, the Cohen version, and then the sex scene, and then this child behind me. And just that, the whole movie was uncomfortable.
It was
I should watch it again.
Movie. It was an R-rated movie, and it was a very, very R-rated comic. There was Blue Dong hanging the entire time. And I didn't believe he was going to do. I thought, he's going to put pants on him, or he's going to put underwear on him, whatever he's going to do. but he was hanging dong like he was in the comic book. And I was like, at the very least, Zack Snyder kept it real that way. If any kid, let me tell you something. I felt bad. If the kid goes in there, why would a kid be? It's a rated R horror, not horror movie, but it's a rated R comic book movie. Kids shouldn't be there. Kids shouldn't have gone to see the Joker, and people were bringing their kids.
Okay. That's a whole nother tangent. Listen.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
All right.
I would have been like,
I love the graphic novel. Is fantastic, but I agree. I think as a team, not that exciting. I think we put them at 9.
I think 9 as well.
Great source material, though.
Yes,
great graphic.
Very
yeah,
and it's a good movie too. Like, I don't think it's bad. I
will rewatch the movie. I've seen it twice, but it's been a while. I will give it.
Didn't I lend you the extended version?
I know you have not.
I will lend it to you again then. In that case, I lend it.
Well, I think it's just on HBO Max, but or something.
Okay.
All right. So what's
next
our last
up,
one?
we have Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to do some switching.
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe Watchmen should. Because they almost are like they commit suicide in the comic almost as bad as the Suicide Squad.
Okay, so Charlie, where's your initial thought for Guardians?
This is a tough one for me because if I'm being honest with you guys, this is not a team that I did not read the comics. I was not familiar with them before their introduction to the MCU, but I do absolutely love the movies, and I love the sci-fi blend of humor and the comic booky action. I'm a sucker for all that. I think it's fantastic. So, but that's all I'm basing my opinion of this off of. So I will. Have you guys read the comics? I will lean to you for the comic knowledge here.
I've read a very tiny bit. I've read a very tiny bit. I think I read stuff when like the big, huge Annihilation crossover was going, which was way before the movies, and the team was very different. This team has cycled through so many members. I know that. Even like this picture that I have here, has like Beta Ray Bill and Moonstar and stuff like that. People that just are not in the movie.
Yeah.
But the movies are great. And really the comics have taken a lot from the movies and have, because of the popularity of the movies, and have injected a lot of that into the comics. So, the Peter Quill that you kind of see in the movies is closer to the Peter Quill, or the Peter Quill of the comics is closer to the Peter Quill of the movies than he used to be. So, also, fun fact, Rocket Raccoon was actually supposed to be like British or Cockney or something like that. And then Bradley Cooper came in and that's just been dropped. That's just been dropped.
I love what he did with that. You know the other people they were looking at? They were going to get maybe Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler to ruin that voice, and you got an actual quality actor like Bradley Cooper coming in there and knocking it out of the park. His one of his monologues got me all choked up because he was so upset. I was like, "He guy understands. He knows what it's like." And I like that. And let me tell you something, those other guys aren't going to get to the same kind of an emotional thing. Or if they do, they're going to ham it up and make it look ridiculous. And I appreciated his serious take, and it endeared me to the character. I love that character. I hope nothing happens to that freaking character. One of my worst parts of Avengers Endgame was when War Machine was like, "Hey, I'll see you on the other side because we're about to drown to death now." And he's like, I'm like, no, not Rocket. Come on,
anyone but Rocket.
All right. Well, where do we want Guardians? Because this is the last one, so this is gonna, we're
gonna have to move, because as a team, I don't think they're even as cohesive as the Teen Titans, bro. I would move up all of the others and put them right before Watchmen.
So you're saying number 8?
Yeah.
Charlie, how do you feel about that?
Look, based on movie strength, I would have them top 5, but I get the idea that that's not what they have been as a team. So I'm comfortable having them in our bottom 10, but a team to watch on the rise, because as you said, we're getting more of the movies into the comics, and when we revisit this list in a couple of years, I will.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think they're better than the Green Lantern Corps and the Ninja Turtles?
Corps.
And
it's just the Corps.
What'd I say?
Corpse.
Whoops. Corps. Green Lantern Corps, the Ninja Turtles, and the Teen Titans? Or are they Are they worse than the Green Lanterns? Are they worse than the Ninja Turtles?
I honestly, I might move Turtles ahead of the Lanterns, and I might put Guardians, maybe put Turtles 5, Guardians 6, Titans 7, Lanterns 8.
Actually,
but,
no, actually, Charlie, I was thinking the exact same thing of proposing moving Turtles up to 5.
Okay. But I like the Turtles a lot, so that was just kind of the number 5 I was thinking. But
I would allow Turtles to be in at 5 instead of Guardians.
so if we move Turtles 5, do you guys like the idea of moving Titans up to 7 and then putting Guardians 8? Or Brody, where do you haven't weighed in on Guardians? Where do you want Guardians?
I love the movies, not huge on the comics.
Okay. So do you want it 8 or do you want it even like lower?
Lower than 8?
Or 7? Or are we moving Titans up and Guardians behind him, or are we putting Guardians in front of Titans?
I don't know. I may, as a team, I almost think Titans 7, Guardians 8.
I like it.
I like it too.
Okay. So let's address. So now we've got everything out here. Okay. How do we feel about the top 5? X-Men, Avengers, Justice League, Fantastic Four, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
One of these things is not like the other. I'm fine with that top 5. Dylan, you're making faces. I know
you are
you
making
hate
faces.
The top 5.
Now I understand, like, because maybe it was one of the first couple that we put up there. Explain your guys' love for the Fantastic Four again, just so I can be on the same page.
You want that lower?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I look at it, and it's the only one you guys haven't really been like, I love it. Let me tell you why. You're just kind of like, we'll put it here because it's in the title.
They're the first family of Marvel. They're the first family of Marvel. This is what they were kicked off the Marvel universe. Come on now.
That's great. Keep going. Don't stop.
Okay, so you've had multiple members, okay, but you've always had kind of the core group, okay.
Right.
But then you've had some people kind of move out. Thing has moved out for a bit. We got She-Hulk for a while. We've had kind of guest people. Spider-Man was kind of a guest person.
Let's focus on the cores, the core members.
So you get more of a family than any other team, besides maybe the Turtles. Okay. Because you have
families are very dysfunctional. Keep going.
you have Reed and Sue with their thing. They've since had their kids. Okay, we had the whole Future Foundation that was neat, where they had Spider-Man being a part. You had all this other stuff. You just have this family dynamic that I've always enjoyed. And you have the super scientist who also has his struggles because he's obsessed with his work. You have Ben Grimm, the poor guy turned into a rock and has struggled with that and hates his life half the time, and then like grows to become okay with it, and things like that. I think it's a really neat team, where
good, okay,
where you get a family like the X-Men that are family by their similarities. You get Avengers who are just a revolving door of people,
brought together.
And then you have Fantastic Four that really is that family unit.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most iconic superhero teams of all time, and I think the movies have done a big disservice to like how we think of them or view it, because it kind of really does limit it to, if you've read the comics or not, you're gonna have one view of them, and it's been around a long time. So also depending on which runs you've read, which stories you've been exposed to.
You guys have both read the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, this wasn't like one of my go-to comic reading things. I didn't like have a ton, but I read I read several runs of theirs when I was younger. I enjoyed it. Like it's good stuff. It's iconic. I wouldn't put them above Justice League or Avengers or X-Men, but there's no one behind them that I'm thinking, oh, we need to push push them lower. I as much as I love the Turtles, I know I made it sound like I hate the Justice League. I don't. I just don't like them as much as Avengers or X-Men. But I'd still slot Justice League above Fantastic Four on my personal list. I mean, there's just like not. I think there's even a tier gap here. So I would say like, 1 through 3 are pretty close, and then like a tier drop for the next couple, and then a tier drop for the last. So there's really strong, like real top heavy top here. But I think that I'm also maybe just a little bit excited about what's coming with the Fantastic Four in the MCU. I think it's going to be really, really good. But there's really, really, come on, Dylan, get on board here. Are you still mad because at one time at Denny's that the Brody said you were the thing if we were the Fantastic Four? Are you still mad about that?
First off, that's not what you guys said. You guys didn't say that, because let me tell you, Hawkeye is not a part of the Fantastic Four, and that's what you were talking about. No, not as any Marvel character.
Any Marvel character, and I stand by that. You'd be a great thing.
That isn't. That's why you hate the Fantastic Four, Brody. You ruined the Fantastic Four.
I just wanted to get on board with you guys because
Dylan,
you guys
you're
didn't
beautiful.
say anything about it.
He just Brody thinks you look like Michael Chiklis. That's all.
Well, now I don't like the Fantastic Four, and now I think it should be at least number 5. Now you've done it, sir. I was fine with it. I was on board. How dare they try and make me into Michael Chiklis? And it's clobbering time, bro. It's clobbering time.
See, you're so good at it. You're so good at it. All right, how do we feel about this? So this is where we're at. X-Men, Avengers, Justice League, Fantastic Four, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Green Lantern Corps, Teen Titans, Guardians of the Galaxy, Watchmen, and the Suicide Squad. How you guys feel about that? I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
I am good with that official ranking.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
Well,
all right, Brody.
fun.
Now you're gonna recommend the best comic of each of these 10 teams for our people to read. Put it in the comments. Brody will put it in the comments below our video.
We don't have time
links
for that.
to purchase.
Don't have time for that.
No, later, not now. You in the video notes. You can
giving me more work to do. Charlie, I got so much post-production I gotta do. You're killing me right now.
He'll put not only will he put links to it, but he'll also recommend other comics that branch out, like a Spotify.
No, I'm
so
not.
If you like this X-Men comic, then you might also like this other comic book related to it. It's gonna be great, Brody.
Charlie, please wrap us up.
All right, that's a wrap. So make sure put pressure on Brody in the comments. Ask him what his favorite version of each of these comics are. Make sure he does it. Don't let him off. Look at that beautiful beard. Don't let him off easy. He doesn't deserve it.
Excellent
Watch
beard.
our videos below here. Click below that beard. Put pressure on Michael Chiklis and Brody over there. And we will see you next time.
It's clobbering time.
Tac, tac, punch. That's how we got the name. Clobbering time.
It's not, but that works.